Howdy there, folks. Jumping back onto stream here. Sorry, it's been a bit. I got a bit frustrated with things in the last time and needed to take a small break before getting back to streaming. I've been doing some game design in the background, so we're going to be taking a look at a lot of that, continuing that work forward, and having a good time chatting about games and such. So, one thing that I'd like to start off with doing here, just gonna throw out a notification on Blue Sky here. So, how are we doing today, everyone? Looks like it's time to put together some of our Anointed Archetypes. Maybe we also take a look at some Berserker stuff. Make some tweaks to that class. Also, halfling lore. Let's chat about it. PSI. Now live. And then let's go ahead and throw up a link there. Boom. And post. And let's go ahead and also just set the live status. Boom. And I'm shooting for at least 2 hours, if not more. So, I'm just going to put it fit to the max and disable it early if we go off early. Boom. Going live. All right. Let's go ahead and jump right back on into our favorite program of them all, Google Docs. All right. So, what we have here is a class with nothing in our subclasses feature here. When last we left off, we were copying over some templates here, and that's about as far as we got. Well, I can tell you right now, looking back at our previous works and such, that is not how far we got. We actually do have several archetypes designed. So, let me go ahead and jump over to my document that I've been using for a little bit of off-stream stuff here. Let's go ahead and just kind of tab up on some of those things. We'll probably get into a couple of them later. Alright, so class archetypes. Our first one for the Anointed is the Oath of Blackened Heart. This is your fiendish, your devilish subclass. Let's actually just go ahead and quickly take a look at and read the brief description I wrote up for our class. The Oath of Blackened Heart is the path for those who are anointed by fiends, devils, and the denizens of the hells. It grants you devilish wits, cunning, and power over others. That is rather vague, but let's go ahead and read through the version that I have written up and already kind of pre-modernized. So, Oath of Black and Heart, and then a blank table here, copied over from the sorcerer, but we're gonna leave that for right now. We'll probably have a stream someday in the future of just going through and filling out tables. I know that sounds fascinating, and I hope you're along here for whatever we do and talk about and hang out with then. Alright, so first things first is we have the Oath of Blackened Heart expanded anointed spell list. Alright, so this comes online at 2nd level here. Your Fiendish Patron grants you access to an expanded list of spell options. These spell options are added to your Oath spellcraft list, and are able to be selected for preparation alongside the spell. Okay, we need to fix some of this. Added to your Oath spellcraft list, and are able to be selected for preparation. Please. So yeah, no, actually, I think we can get rid of most of these. Okay. So these options are added to your Oath spellcraft list and are able to be selected for preparation alongside the spells in the Arcane, Divine, or Primal list. This is back when the Anointed could choose their subclass, so we're going to actually scrap that. Then I also basically rewrote this and said, when you swear an Oath of Blackened Heart, your Fiendish Patron grants you heightened magical control over their domain. The following spells are considered divine spells for you. And can be paired for... No, I don't think we even need that. The following spells are considered divine spells for you. That's just it. Grants you Alright, so we're going to just go ahead and actually I'm gonna go ahead and just fix all of those. Alright, so your Fiendish Patron, yes. Actually, hang on. Let's you gain additional spell options to cast based on their nature. As shown on the... No, we don't need to. No, we should. Okay, so then we just get rid of this top clause here. Boom. And there we go. So let's just copy this text here. So that way we can adapt the Oath of Blight and Radiance. You gain additional spell options. As shown on the Oath of Blight and Radiance. And we get rid of those paragraphs there. So, when you swear an oath of blight or radiance, your Fane patron grants you additional control over the magics around you, bending and weaving their essences with Daevon whimsy. No. Bending and weaving your arcane potential with Daevon whimsy. You gain additional spell option trickery. You gain additional spell options to cast based on their nature, as shown on the Oath of Blight and Radiance expanded spells table. The following spells are considered divine spells for you. There we go. Oath of Fealty. Whoops, that's... Alright, when you swear an Oath of Fealty, your patron grants you heightened magical control over their domain and influence over the people they lead. You gain additional spell options to cast based on nature, as shown on the Oath of Fealty. Expanded spells. Expanded spells table. There we go. Let's go ahead and swap. Get rid of that. Get rid of that other intro paragraph there. And then Oath of Sharpened Fang. We don't have anything there, so we're going to go ahead and kind of come back to that when we're implementing. Alright. Sorry for that diversion there. I just saw an area that could be improved. Okay, so we have a spell list table here. We're going to go ahead and fill this in when we have spells. But we have spells, but we need more spells when we're actually working on these spellcraft features. We're going to come back and add in all of these archetypal spells. So, Eyes of Elemental Fire, a second level Oath of Blackened Heart Anointed feature. As the strands of your destiny are collected by your fiendish patron, you feel the heightened sense of a devilish predator watching around. You're able to detect the heat signatures of creatures around you, granting you infravision at a range of 30 feet. If you already have the infravision trait, your range increases by 30 feet. Infravision. You have the ability to detect infrared signatures within 30 feet of you. These signatures are represented as maps of warmth and coldness with color patterns showing differences in temperatures. Heat signatures are obscured by more than 3 feet of stone, an inch of iron or steel, or any thickness of lead that blocks your line of sight to a target. Alright, so a core special attack for the Oath of Blight and Radiance is Infernal Communion. You strike your foe with the fury of the hells. As blood begets blood, you siphon the waning life force of your enemy to restore yourself or your allies. Hang on a second. I need to also add a clause here. Actually, wait. No, I don't, because the Anointed does not get special attacks, they get spells. Let me just double check I didn't throw that in there. Core document here. We're good. Alright. So, you strike your... we already read that. So, Infernal Communion. As you strike your opponent, flecks of blood fly from their body across the battlefield, each burning with the signs of your oath. Conviction, 2+, major action, target 1 creature, melee weapon, range, melee. Melee, 5 feet. Actually, no, just melee. Just the melee tag, because we will have weapons and such that increase the range of your melee. That will increase your melee range, so that's going to be your pole arms and such. Okay, so you attack another creature with a melee weapon and deal damage equal to your melee weapon attack plus 1d6 fire damage. When you deal this damage, a flood of fiendish energy flows from your target, healing injured creatures around you. Roll a number of d4s equal to the conviction expended. If your attack reduces your target to 0 hit points, you use the maximum die result instead. This total is how many hit points you can restore, divided as you choose among any number of creatures you can see within 30 feet of you. Hang on a second. Let me jump over to the speaker for a second, because I believe this is... And just make sure that the life domain uses similar text here for their thing, because it is. Divided as you choose. On among a number of creatures. Okay, any number versus a number. So a number is referring, because it can be your spell, it's up to your spellcraft modifier. Any number, it doesn't matter. Okay. We're good. You can perceive that is a change here. Okay. Rotating back to the Anointed here. Within 30 feet of you. Our attack attribute might, defense fortitude. It's just a standard melee weapon attack, so it's 1, 2, 2, 3 W's plus might damage. Then we add on 1d6 fire damage, but then it is the same sort of conditional end results where you can on a tier 1 result you can have an attack of opportunity made against you. On a tier 3 or 4 result you can make flourishes. Standard stuff. Alright, so that is 2nd level. 5th level, Aura of Fiendish Resilience. You summon a cloud of brimstone and ash that confers fiendish resistances and cloaks your presence. On your turn, you can use your major action to perform the special action Aura of Fiendish Resilience. An atmosphere of the hells radiates around you. Major action, effect instantaneous, implement none, range self, target self. You channel the infernal magics of your oath to create a cloud of blood, ash, and flame that surrounds you for 20 feet in all directions. This cloud moves with you, remaining centered on you, and grants all creatures within it resistance to your choice of fire, lightning, or necrotic damage, and half cover from celestials. This cloud lasts for 10 minutes, spreads around corners, and cannot be dispersed unless you choose to end this effect. No action required. Once you use this feature, you cannot use it again until you complete a short rest. When you have no uses remaining, you can spend 1 point of willpower to use this ability again. Very simple thing. Lets you get some damage resistances for your party, and then, if you're attacking a celestial, you get some bonuses there. Alright. Also at 5th level, the Devil You Know. You have become so intertwined with the powers of your patron that, in addition to your current creature type, you register as a fiend to spells and abilities that detect it. This is just a tag ad. Like if you're already a tiefling, this is going to do absolutely nothing to you, but if you are a human, you are now a humanoid and a fiend. Yeah. Alright, 8th level, Hurl Through Hell. This is going to resemble one of the 5e options here for you. You strike your enemies and steer them with visions of torment and agony as they are thrown through the infernal realm. On your turn, you can use your major action to perform the special action, Hurl Through Hell. As you strike your opponent, they are transported into the infernal wastes of the hells and shown the fires and torments that fuel your convictions. Conviction 4+. Major action, target one creature. Implement, melee weapon, range melee. You make a melee basic attack against another creature. When your attack deals damage, the creature disappears and is hurtled through the nightmarish landscapes of the lower realms. If the target is not a fiend, it takes a number of d10s equal to your anointed level of fire damage as it is seared and burned by the hells and its denizens. At the start of your next turn, the target returns to the space it previously occupied, or the nearest unoccupied space. If this damage reduces your target to 0 hit points, it does not return, and the creature's soul is collected by your patron. So yeah, this is just feeding your patron a little bit, but also, it can be a lot of damage. This comes online at 8th level, so this is at its base level 8d10 fire damage. Plus your melee basic attack. So once again, this is a melee weapon attack, so it's 1, 2, 2, 3. Same result for a 9 and lower, and then flourishes for tier 3 and 4. However, once again, this is coming online at 8th level here, so you get improved basic attacks. So this is actually going to automatically just jump up to a 2, 3, 3, 4 with the same features. So, yes. Once you use the special attack, you cannot use it again until you complete a long rest or until your patron grants a blessing as a result of the intervention feature. When you have no uses remaining, you can spend 2 points of willpower to use this ability. To use this ability again. Sorry, I've got a bit of hiccups here. I just had Chinese food for dinner, and so give me one quick second. Alright, I am back. Oh, hang on, let me go ahead and... There we go, back to main view. Alright. Also, at 8th level here, you get Trained in Fear. You have seen the pain and suffering of the worlds above and below. You have learned to recognize and control this fear in both others and yourself. You know how to come out stronger to face any fear. You are resistant to the Frightened condition. You can roll to save against the Frightened condition at the start of your turn instead of at the end. Does this description need to be here? It's reminder text. Oh, there we go. So yeah, that is the second part of the Oath of Blackened Heart capstone. However, we do have an optional feature here, and this is something that I want to include on many of these Anointed subclasses. I only have it actually drafted up for the Oath of Blackened Heart right now, just because Hell is a very atmospheric and very defined idea within our modern cultural mythos, and so it was rather easy to identify traits of fiendish corruption and add them as an optional feature. So as you progress in the eyes of your patron, your character transforms to resemble the devils they draw their power from. These options are purely cosmetic and do not provide mechanical bonuses to actions taken by your character. Every time the character levels up, after performing actions that uphold their oath, or at the GM's discretion, roll 1d20 to determine how your infernal connection gradually reshapes your character into a fiend. So, your d20 transformation here. Your character's eyes change to emit an eerie, unnatural glow. Their internal body temperature rises. Areas of your character's skin grow thin and moist, taking on an appearance similar to exposed muscle. Your character's eyes develop slit pupils, and their Color may shift to a blood red or amber hue. Your character's tongue splits into a forked end. Their arms and legs elongate. Your character's feet twist and reform into cloven hooves. Your character no longer has or needs eyelids. Your character's teeth fall out and are replaced by pointed fangs. Your character's voice deepens or becomes raspy. Your fingernails sharpen and elongate into claws. Your character just grows a tail. Your character's facial features become more pronounced, a wider grin, an elongated snout, a sharper jawline, etc. Areas of your character's skin grow hard and textured, taking on an appearance similar to tree bark. Excuse me. A part of your character's body is always bleeding or licking, a part of your character's body is always bleeding or leaking a black ichor. Devilish horns begin to grow upon your character's head. Excuse me. Your character faintly smells of fire and brimstone. Your fingers and toenails elongate, developing additional joints. Your character's hair falls out and is replaced by thorns or quills. Your character's eyes split, having two irises on each eyeball. These transformations are permanent, and following a character's change, they can only be undone through a true polymorph or wish spell. So yeah, that is that. So let's just go ahead, and now that we've gotten this all sorted, let's just go ahead and bring this pre-written version over to our core document. Now we do have that one comment that I added here about the reminder text, so I'm going to go ahead and add that in as well, just for reference and cleaning up when I'm doing an editing, basically. Training periods. Boom and boom. There we go. Comment edit. All right, so let's just go ahead and mark this as ported. All right, Oath of Blight and Radiance. We have started porting this one into our interstitial document here, but we did not get too far. So let's just go ahead and copy what we have, which is our Oath of Blight and Radiance expanded anointed spell list, and just the opening paragraph. All right, so what to do? Let's go to our main document here. All right. So, yes. All right, so the Oath of Blight and Radiance here is an archetype that is based around a core duality. It is a stance-focused archetype. So our first feature here is our stances. This is the Fey and Fel presence feature. Boom. There we go. Whenever you complete a long rest, you can choose which aspect of the primordial Fey realm you manifest, the aspect of Fel Blight or the aspect of Fey Radiance. While in the chosen state, you gain the features associated with your aspect. When you would complete a short rest, you can instead take the time to meditate and attune yourself with the realms of your patronage, expending 1 point of willpower to change your aspect. this attunement replaces the effects of a short rest. No, this realignment. Realignment's a better word there. All right. So yeah, you can switch on a day-to-day basis, but at the same time, you do have an option of just taking a short rest, and instead of taking a short rest, you switch to your other form. We begin. Also at second level, this is a class that is rather front-loaded. Sorry, an archetype that is rather front-loaded, and it has a lot of features, but mostly because they are stance-oriented. So, preternatural instincts. Having experience with creatures of other realms, you have learned to recognize common traits among them. You have advantage tier 1 on wisdom survival checks to track fae, fiends, and undead, as well as intellect history checks to recall information about such creatures. Just a simple thing here. We are actually going to be nerfing this one just a little bit because it is rather broad. Learn to recognize common trait. Having experience with creatures of other realms and dealing with vain tricksters and why am I having so much trouble with dealing with vain tricksters and the like? You have learned to recognize common traits among them. You have advantage. We can get rid of tier 1 since it's just advantage. On wisdom survival, so this is going to become survival wisdom. Checks to track fae. Do we include track fae creatures? Because I don't think fiends really fits here. Track fae and undead. As well as history, intellect. Checks, challenges. To recall information about such creatures. There we go. All right. Mist Wanderer. This is, when I say that this class has a lot of features, this is, oh my gosh, excuse me, this is the one I'm talking. All right, so. All right, Mist Wanderer. Second level, Oath of Light and Radiance Anointed feature. You learn the Misty Step spell. The spell doesn't count against your number of spells. No. Okay, so that language is gonna need to change. Just a wee bit. So let's actually go ahead and jump to another class that gives always active spells. Just so we can snag the language there. And that's gonna be our good old friend, the wizard. Nothing. There, nope, nope, nope. There we go. All right. You learn this spell. You always have this spell prepared. It does not count against the number of spells you can prepare. Misty Step. You always have this spell prepared. It does not. There we go. On your turn, you can use your major action to perform a special attack, performing a quick extraplanar jaunt into the Fey realms based on your current aspect. And so this is basically giving you a better version of Misty Step as an option. But you know, you also get Misty Step just in general, so you don't have to do this. Yes. All right. So here we go. I'm sure there is old design in here, so let's go ahead and take a peek. Curtains here. Okay. So, Oath of Blight and Radiance. Why am I using an ampersand there? There we go. Alright. So, our first option here is Stalk the Whispering Twilight. So, prerequisite aspect of Fell Blight. A cloak of burning shadows surrounds you as you melt into darknesses nearby. You materialize nearby in a toxic mist bearing the mark of your patron. This is a melee weapon attack or a ranged weapon attack. It costs 2 or more conviction. It's a major action. That is also going to be a big distinction here. Misty Step is a bonus action. These are major actions because they incorporate a weapon attack as a part of their core gameplay loop. So that's why it's important to also give this Anointed archetype Misty Step as well, so that you can either major action Stalk the Whispering Twilight and then minor action Misty Step as well, so you can get bonus teleportation there. But one way or another. Okay, so when you perform this special attack, you teleport up to 20 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see. Before or after teleporting, you can make one melee or ranged weapon attack. Melee or ranged. I believe it's basic attack. As a part of this special attack. This attack deals damage equal to your melee weapon. Melee or... Okay, hang on a second. Sorry, I need to read through here. This attack deals damage equal to your melee weapon attack, plus 1d6 poison damage. So there is an interesting thing here, because it can be a ranged weapon attack as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump over to our core rulebook here and take a look at our basic attacks. Just because this is something that I was having trouble with before. Since ranged weapon attacks do not have the attack of opportunity clause on a 9 or lower attack roll. Okay, so actions. Yes, there we go. All right. So our basic attacks. Yes, here we go. All right, ranged basic attacks deals 1W plus agility damage, and attacks rolls against you have advantage tier 1 until the start of your next turn. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and, for one, we actually can get rid of tier 1 just because it's straight up an advantage now. Advantage, there we go. So, result, melee. Three, no, just 2. Okay, so there we go. And then ranged. 1W plus agility damage. There we go. Then after that, results are the same for melee and ranged weapon attacks. So let's go ahead and put a line break after that there. Boom. There we go. Okay, and then since these actually, this is a good place to show our tags. Melee basic attack, boom, go. We don't need to put parentheses, we can just use tags. Ranged basic attack. Go. And bold italic. And bold italic. Then we can get rid of one of these spaces here. There we go. That looks right. Okay. So 9 and lower, melee basic attack, 1W plus might damage, plus 1d6 poison damage, 1 creature with you. It's a standard weapon attack. So let's just go ahead and change this from weapon attack to basic attack there. So this is going to be the basic attack result table. There we go. Plus might or agility damage. Might or agility damage plus might or agility damage. There we go. All right. So when you reappear after teleporting. Oh, actually, hang on. I'm gonna rotate back, read through this description again. That way, if I'm not like missing something. Into your basic attack damage. Plus 1d6. Okay. So when you perform this special attack, you can teleport up to 20 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see. Before or after teleporting, you can make one melee or ranged basic attack as a part of this special attack. This attack deals damage equal to your basic attack damage, plus 1d6 poison damage. Yes, there we go. Basic attack can be... There we go. Alright. Excuse me. Why did it say basic? This is melee weapon attack. Ranged weapon attack. There we go. Alright, attack attribute might for melee, agility for ranged, defense fortitude for melee, or reflex for ranged. And then we have our standard results table here. And then special. When you perform this special attack and expend 4 or more conviction, you are considered invisible to the target creature until the end of your next turn. Alright, let's hang on. Looks like there is a bit of a page break after that, so yeah, let's go ahead and get rid of that. Alright. So that is Stalk the Whispering Twilight. Oh, hang on, I forgot. I keep forgetting the bottom clause here. When you reappear after teleporting, choose a number of creatures that you can see. Nope, that you can perceive. Up to a number equal to the conviction expended as a part of the attack. Each creature takes poison damage equal to your anointed level. So this comes online at 2nd level here. So it automatically costs 2 conviction when you are performing this special attack. So you bamf out of the realm, you bamf in, you choose a number of... Yeah, there is no range on this, so that you just kind of throw a little bit of poison damage around Splash. So that you're limited by the number of conviction expended. So if you want to expend, like, let's say 4 conviction to get the invisibility to the target creature until the end of your next turn, that means 4 creatures of your choice get dealt 2 poison damage. Yeah. So that is the aspect of Fell Blight's Mist Wanderer feature, in addition to being able to cast Misty Step, just as a basic. So, the aspect of Fey Radiance here, your ability is called Walk the Quiet Sunbeam. It's similar. You're going to see some commonality here. The amber sunlight of the Fey realm shines forth from you. The light warps around you, allowing you to take on an immaterial radiant form, reappearing in a nearby space touched by the light of your patron's realm. This is a melee weapon attack or a ranged weapon attack. 2+ conviction, major action, implement weapon, range weapon, target 1 creature. Okay, when you perform this special attack, you teleport up to 20 feet to an unoccupied space that you can perceive. Did I change that there? Nope. Let's go ahead and swap that back there. All right. It's always I before E, whatever. Before or after teleporting, you can make 1 melee or ranged weapon attack, basic attack, as a part of this special attack. This attack deals damage equal to your melee weapon attack plus 1d6 radiant damage. Let's just go ahead and just copy that same line from before, because this is, once again, very similar. We're also just going to copy the results of the table here because it's gonna be easier. There we go. All right, when you reappear after teleporting, choose a number of creatures that you can see up to a number equal to the conviction expended as a part of the attack. So once again, similar to the splash of poison damage that goes around to everyone with Stalk the Whispering Twilight, each creature gains temporary hit points equal to your anointed level. When a creature has these temporary hit points, they are resistant to radiant damage. So this is a similar splash, but instead of dealing a little bit of chip damage, this is creating a little bit of a radiant shield for your party. On one hand, I can see this being a little bit on the stronger side, just because on one hand it is 2 temporary hit points, which isn't a lot. But it is a little bit of healing, but as a part of that healing, we are also conferring resistance to an entire damage type. So something like this here would be really good for a fight against a Celestial, where a lot of their attacks deal radiant damage. So long as you can hold on to these 2 temporary hit points, you negate half of all radiant damage. Now, since it's 2 temporary hit points, or up to 10 temporary hit points due to class level scaling, what this functionally means is you are resistant to the next attack that deals radiant damage to you. So I feel like that's pretty decent design, just because it is, you automatically reduce the damage by 10, but you are also halving it. So like, the next attack that deals radiant damage to you is going to be significantly weakened. But then those temporary hit points are functionally gone, and you know, that's just kind of how it is. Aspect of Fey Radiance deals base attack plus 1d6 poison. No, this is supposed to be radiant. There we go. And then we don't have a special feature here for expending more conviction, just because that invisibility clause exists because the resistance is much stronger. And since you can also target yourself with this, you can give yourself resistance to radiant damage this way. Yeah. So that is that. Let's go ahead and jump back over to our drafting area here. All right, so that is the core of the Oath of Blight and Radiance at 2nd level. It is, on one hand, once again, one of the more complicated archetypes for the Anointed class, but that is exclusively because it is bimodal. So, our next features come online at 5th level here. This is the Aura of Fey Sanctuary. Alright. Aura of Fey Sanctuary. As a major action, you channel the primal magics of your oath to create a swirling cloud of mists, breaking down the barriers between realms. This cloud moves with you, remaining centered on you, and all creatures who start their turn within it are unaffected by difficult terrain except that which is caused by a Fey creature. While in this space, all creatures gain one of the following flourishes, depending on your current aspect. So flourishes are your critical effects. So, Corrosive Rend, prerequisite aspect of Fell Blight. Your attack deals poison damage instead of its standard damage type, and inflicts your target with the slowed condition until the end of their next turn. And then Everkindled Seer, prerequisite aspect of Fey Radiance. Your attack deals radiant damage instead of its standard damage type, and inflicts your target with the blinded condition until the start of your next turn. And so this is something that is affecting all creatures around you who are within this aura. So you ignore difficult terrain, and then when you land a tier 3 or 4 result on a melee or ranged basic attack, you can either blind or poison the creature and you get a damage type conversion. This cloud lasts for 10 minutes, spreads around corners, cannot be dispersed unless you choose to end this effect, no action required. Once you use this feature again, you cannot use it again until you complete a long rest. When you have no uses remaining, you can spend 1 point of willpower to use this ability again. Hang on a second. Let me go ahead and jump back to Oath of Blackened Heart, since we also have an aura ability there. We wrote this up as a special action. I think we should do that here as well. Second. That should have a line break before it. Oh, I already put it in. Nice. Good job, me. Okay, so Aura of Fey Sanctuary. Let's go ahead and copy this formatting over. So, alright, so Aura of Fey Sanctuary. Oath of Blight and Radiance. your Fane patron grants a blessing, warping land around you to represent the lands they have dominion over. Lands they claim dominion over. No tags yet. Major action, instantaneous. Implement none, target self, range self. You channel this here. There we go. And we just copy all of this into here. There we go. Let's go ahead and add the line break after aspect there. Go. All right. And then we remove the line break here. Go. All right. So your connection to the Fey realm is stronger, allowing you to manifest its effects around you, allowing you to manifest its effects and manifest its effects. Nope, that's gonna be effects around you. Plant seeds of its influence upon all planes that you walk. Plant seeds of influence. On your turn, you can use your major action to perform special action Aura Fey Sanctuary. There we go. All right. Go. Go ahead and jump actually over here because we don't need to have a line break there. There we go. Better. Improved even. All right. So that is going to be Aura of Fey Sanctuary there. Let's go ahead and remove this ugly green highlight there. All right, and continue on. All right, also at 5th level here. Okay. Oh, this is... Okay, this is going to be a feature that requires a lot of rework. Okay, so counter charm. You know, I'm not even going to copy it over right now. I'm going to copy over the start. Okay, so let's read it as is, because this is adapted from 5e. But 5e design does not really mesh with my game's current meta design right now. So that's what these whole streams are about. We're going to be updating and bringing this in line with how my game currently is working. Sorry, just checking chat here, making sure everything is going well. Alright, so counter charm. Your Fey nature grants you a charismatic resistance to influence. Whenever you would be charmed or frightened, roll 1d20. On a roll of 10 or higher, you are unaffected by the ability. On a roll of 20, the creature who attempted to charm or frighten you is charmed by you until the end of their next turn. When you use this ability, the next time a creature attempts to charm or frighten you, the difficulty of the contesting roll increases by 1 to a maximum of 19. Difficulty of this resistance is reset to 10 when you complete a long rest. Okay, so why doesn't this anymore stick with my core gameplay and core game design? For one, D20s. D20s are not used for functionally all of this game. Every once in a while they show up, such as with the Oath of Blackened Hearts optional Fiendish Corruption table, and what I will eventually do with an Oath of Blight and Radiance table here. That is not a part of this old document here, but nevertheless. Similarly, so 1d20, not a thing anymore really in this game. Also something that isn't a thing in this game anymore, with a couple exceptions, and I don't want to continue making carve out exceptions for it, and that is going to be target numbers. So this is creating a gradually increasing target number of 10 or higher plus that you roll against in order to perform the counter charm action. So your Fey nature grants you a charismatic resistance to influence. Whenever you would be charmed or frightened, roll. Okay. So we're going to change this into an ability challenge. You roll a. Let's look at our skills here. I'm betting that this is going to be a presence check, just off the top of my head, but skills. All right, so acrobatics, no. Animal handling, no. Arcana, maybe, but probably not. Athletics, concordance, perhaps. Deception, no. Diplomacy, no. Dungeoneering. Actually, we could have this tied to our aspect. You roll an ability challenge to resist the effect based on your current aspect. While under the effects of the aspect of Fell Blight, you roll a. His aspect of Fell Blight always bolted. Yes. Interesting. Okay. Aspect of Fell Blight, Control B. You roll a. I think it's going to be Charisma, Deception Charisma. Challenge. Well, you are of the aspect Fey Radiance. This ability challenge is made using your presence, charisma. Ability. No, this is a skill. There we go. Okay, so let's just make sure once again, deception and presence. So deception. I do also like the idea of diplomacy. Insight, investigation, lore, medicine, nature, navigation, perception, performance, presence, religion, sanity, sleight of hand, stealth, streetwise, or survival. Yeah, no, there was a part of me that's like, well, maybe diplomacy is your default state, and then you can either deceive or use presence to do so. Roll a diplomacy, charisma, ability challenge to resist the effect. No, I think that this is introducing too much complexity there. So you roll an ability challenge, and it's just dependent on your current aspect. You don't have a standard, or we're not going to have a fallback option, so that it just is. I think that adding a bimodal. Oh no, we are making it. Excuse me, we are making it bimodal, but we do not want to have a standard middle option here, because that's going to, in my mind, that kind of muddies how this ability reads. So let's go ahead and copy an action table. Why am I not seeing my action tables? There we are. We don't want this to be an attack. Let's go ahead and it's not, nope, coup de grace is something else. I mean, we could do, yeah, let's just grab the grapple tape. It's not going to change anything there. All right. All right, so jumping back to our drafting document here. Okay, so counter charm. This is a Oath of Blight and Radiance special action. At will. Yes. Major action. This is a reaction, which means we need trigger text. Shit. We should have grabbed something else. That's fine. This is fine. This is fine. It's just Google Docs. So let's go ahead and jump over to our defend action, since that's going to have trigger text here. So yeah, let's just go ahead and insert row above, add in that trigger. There we go. And we lost our table. Cool. Add in another row. There we go. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of formatting here. Let's go ahead and get rid of our background there. We're going to get rid of, actually no, we've done this before. We keep the background there. We're going to get rid of this row. Then the trigger text here, we becomes transparent. That's how we do it with these, just because we're not breaking things up like this. Actually, this should just be flipped. So let's just fix it in our core document as well. So let's go ahead and put that there. And then this here is transparent. There we go. Already better. Trigger, taking damage, no. Trigger. Charm or frighten. Cool. You are targeted by an effect that would charm or frighten you. All right. We can get rid of that table there. Okay. So, result, counter charm. Okay, so all of that formatting out of the way, let's go ahead and jump back into the actual design of this. So, charm or frighten. Whenever you would be charmed or frightened, roll a d20. So let's just go ahead and copy this text here out of our plain text. Whenever you'd be charmed or frightened, you roll an ability challenge to resist the effect based on your current aspect. Well, under the effects of the aspect. Yeah, exactly. Same thing. Okay. So, on a 9 or lower, so this is a failure, you are affected by the target creature's charm or frightened condition. So yeah, 9 or lower, you fail. That is the end of as specified by their ability. On a 10 to 18, you are resistant to the target creatures to triggering no, we don't need to put that word in there. To the target creatures charmed go away. Stop. Charmed or frightened condition. Or resistant. So you are affected by it. When you would on your turn, you resist this effect as if you were no. Sorry, I am definitely overthinking it. You are resistant to the target creature's charm or frightened condition. There we go. On a 19 through 27, you are not affected by the target creature's charmed or frightened condition. Okay. So for a full success, a roll of 28 and higher, you are not affected by the target creature's charmed or frightened condition. In addition, the creature who attempted to charm or frighten you is charmed by you until the end of their next turn. The creature. Okay, so there is that. So that is some core design here for our we roll as a reaction. We either are affected, we gain a resistance, we ignore it, or we throw it back at them. However, we do have something else that we can do here that is going to help us out. So let's go ahead and jump to the core Anointed class here. Because the Anointed gets a feature called Intervention. And Intervention is a classic kind of God-botherer type. You call upon the cosmos, imploring your patron to intercede on your behalf when the need is great. You roll on a table against a challenge set by your GM, and apply a bonus from the roll to the roll from the table below. So, what we're going to do here, we're just going to copy this table here. So, jumping back to our drafting here. Should this be a part of the? It probably should. Okay. Sorry, I'm just thinking formatting for one quick second. And apply a bonus to the roll from the table below based on how frequently you used this ability since your last long rest. You gain all expended uses back when you complete. I could make this an extended rest thing, but I feel like that is a little bit antithetical. Because like you are going to be you should be using this more. Like on one hand, charmed and frightened conditions are going to be a little bit more circumstantial. So if you're going into a fight where you have a lot of charm and frightened abilities going off, this should be something that triggers a little bit more often. And so you just kind of get this back. So you become very good at handling it. Let's go ahead and put that. Ooh, no. So we want to get this interlinear. Please work there. Yes, there we go. Uses bonus. You. Yes, there we go. Well, under the aspect, let's see what this looks like without page break. Not page break, the line break. You know what I mean? Better. Yeah, is it? Yeah, I think it is better. Okay, so yeah, there we go with that there. So, first use, since your last long rest, you have advantage tier 2 on the result. Second use, you have advantage. Third use, neither advantage nor disadvantage. Fourth use, you have disadvantage. And fifth and subsequent uses, you have disadvantage tier 2. So that is going to create this illusory pushing back. So initially, you're going to start out stronger. You're going to be throwing charms back at people. But as a fight goes on, they become more resistant to your charm effects, or you become a little bit less resistant to theirs, and so it creates this little bit more of a dynamic tension as you are kind of resisting their charm over and over and over again. And so it's going to be something that kind of wears down on you, and so that is going to emulate rolling a d20 and then against a ever-growing target number. There we go. Actually, sorry, one more time on there. I'm going to actually just keep the page break, the line break there. I think that does substantially improve the look there. There we go. It's annoying because uses is on its own. I think it would look fine if it was slightly off. We could just scooch. No, we could just scooch that over. Let's see what that looks like. That looks raw. There's so much blank space there. Okay, let's just leave that as is. I'll come back and be annoyed with that. Okay. So, counter charm. There we go. 5th level feature. It's long. It's a bit more complicated, but once again, it is fitting in line with this being a slightly more complicated archetype option here. Yeah. All right. So 8th level features here. So our current options here are we have 2 8th level features here, and I think I'm going to give them an additional one because it feels wrong that they are missing. What the hell? Oh, okay. Back to the bottom. Back to the bottom. There we go. All right. One with the Fey realm. That's not the one I wanted to get. Command the Mists, 8th level Oath of Blight and Radiance Anointed feature. Your connection with your patron's realm has grown to such a degree that you find yourself naturally slipping in and out of the Fey realms. Whenever you cast the spell Misty Step or Teleport as a part of making a special attack, Stalk the Whispering Twilight, or Walk the Quiet Sunbeam, you can bring along one willing creature of your size or smaller that you can see within 5 feet of you. That creature teleports to an unoccupied space of your choice within 5 feet of your destination space. So you get a friend. You can bring one of your allies with you when you teleport. It's that easy. Making an special attack. You can bring. There we go. One with the Fey realms. You've become so intertwined with the powers of your patron that in addition to your current creature type, you register as Fey to spells and abilities that detect. Cool. Okay, so what is this ability that I am going to give them? It's going to be a stronger one. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and Wandering Conjunction. Convergence. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a page out of Oath of Blackened Heart and their Hurl Through Hell feature. But it's not going to be that. We're just going to copy the feature here. Don't worry, it's going to basically entirely become deleted. Okay, so okay, I went into the wrong tab. Okay. You wander the lands of Davos and beyond, traveling between realms and planes with ease. On your as a ritual, you can cast the spell Plane Shift as if it were a 4th level spell. Once you use this feature, you cannot use it again until you complete an extended rest or until your patron grants a blessing as a result of the intervention feature. When you have no uses remaining, you can spend 2 points of willpower to use this ability again. So, this is a get out of dodge free. Like, let's say you end up in the Nine Hells. Let's say you end up in the Fey Realm or on the elemental plane of air and you want out. Well, this is going to give you an ability to cast the spell Plane Shift, which is not normally a divine spell. It is not normally a spell that the Anointed can get because they can only go up to 4th level as far as spellcasting levels. But this is a way to get it once per extended rest for free, and then you also have the ability to recharge that through intervention or by spending willpower. So for a 4th level spell. Actually, we should have let's go ahead and jump over towards where Misty Step is. As a ritual, 4th level spell. Noting specifically that it is a ritual, that this is going to take an extended amount of time. You always have the Plane Shift ritual prepared. And it does not count against the number of spells you can prepare. There we go. Once you use this special attack, once you use this, sure. Once you use this ability, cannot use it again until you complete. Okay, there we go. All right, so Wandering Convergence. There we go. We now have given the Planeswalker Anointed the ability to walk between planes. Now, granted, we do have a wizard archetype that is also called the Planeswalker. It's going to fill a similar role, but this Anointed archetype is more about teleportation. It is more about doing a little bit of splash damage here. It is all about invoking the realm of the Feywild, whereas the Planeswalker wizard is going to be all about traveling the cosmos and like charting courts, doing navigation, astrogation, maps, that sort of thing. So this is going to be they're not going to be stepping on each other's toes by giving a minor convergence event to this class at high levels. And like once again, this is something that is desperately needed for this class, because let's say you're playing an all martial campaign and like this is going to be your spell sword. Having a limited ability to travel the planes is a good thing, just so you don't end up trapped there. And I mean, it is still going to be a willpower eat here, so like if you are going to be using it multiple times, there are going to be problems with kind of just keeping up its effects. Like you can't do this infinitely. You can't jump to one plane and then immediately jump to another. Like it will eventually eat out all of your willpower. It'll start eating into your fatigue, and you're going to be entering a death spiral. So like this is good, I'd say. All right, so Oath of Fealty and Oath of Sharpened Fang do not exist here on this document here, but they do exist as far as drafted forms over in Affinity Publisher. And so this is a lot of what I was writing up when I was working on doing a lot of layout for this RPG prematurely, I'd say. But Here, I need to take a quick bathroom break. I'm gonna be right back. Stay tight. Hang on tight for just one quick second. All right, I am back. Thank you so much for your patience as I took that quick bio break. As I had said before at the start of the stream, I enjoyed a delightful plate of House Chow Fun before jumping on stream, and well, yeah, you know what happens. um, all right, so yes, we are looking at the Oath of Fealty and Oath of Sharpened Fang. All right, so um, Oath of Fealty here. Um, this is going to be your kind of standard paladin-like archetype. This is going to be your I have sworn an oath to a noble knight of the courts, and I am in their service and as their protector and enforcer. And so that is what this archetype is kind of all about. It's all about serving the humans of the realm. So this is not going to be an extra planar one. This is not I have made a pact with a demon, I have made a pact with the Fae, or I have made a pact with a dragon. Those are the other three. So that's demons, Blackened Heart, Fae, Blight and Radiance, and then Sharpened Fang is dragons. So let's go ahead and just kind of jump over to Oath of Fealty, and then immediately jump over to Oath of Blackened Heart, so we can copy our. Actually, no, never mind. We can go over to interstitial drafting. In fact, we can even mark this one as implemented. There we go. Oath of Fealty. Boom. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. So first up, we have the Oath of Fealty Anointed spell list, expanded spell list. There we go. Once again, coming back to that here, we already updated the text here earlier on. So this is also going to be a bit more of a if you checked out my previous stream where we were talking about the warlord class, this is going to feel a lot more like that, where there's going to be a bit more battlefield tactics, where there's going to be a bit more kind of conditional if-then relationships. Here, give me. I hate to do this, but give me just one quick second to get. Okay. Sorry, I just needed a drink. My voice was getting a bit. Okay, so our feature here. Our first feature here is Ready at Arms. You gain advantage tier 1 on all initiative challenges. Advances to advantage tier 2 at 5th level and advantage tier 3 at 8th. Well, that's not really how initiative works anymore. When I started reworking this game, I switched over to a popcorn initiative system, and I also got rid of an entire tier of advantage. So this is in terms of what's the best way to describe it? In terms of up-to-datedness, this is crunchy. So let's go ahead and shift over to the Warlord class here, since that's going to have, I believe, an ability that is rather similar. Okay. Not really. That's okay. So we have Into the Fray here, which grants bonuses based on initiative. We don't. Do we just not have? A bonus to initiative? That feels weird. Okay. I guess I'm thinking of something wrong with it. That's okay. This the language can probably stick around, or at least the verbiage of it can stick around a bit. So ready at arms. You gain advantage on all initiative challenges. This bonus, give me my freaking cursor. There we go. Thank you. Oh, wow, you are lagging. Why? Okay, so good thing we're kind of moving out of here and avoiding doing layout in that. You gain advantage. Keep just advantage on all initiative challenges that you make. This bonus increases to advantage tier 2 at 5th level. Okay, so the way our popcorn initiative system works is your side sends forth a representative, your opponent's side sends forth a representative. They roll a skill challenge against each other. Whoever is higher acts first, and then a member of the other team goes first, then a member of your team, and it just kind of goes back and, oh my gosh, back and forth in that sort of manner. So ready at arms means when you're the one who's going to be making initiative challenges, you get advantage on all of them. And then you get advantage tier 2 at 5th level, so you just kind of bump yourself up with more success. So, Shield of Honor. This is a 2nd level feature here. Yeah, because this is once again. Yeah, because that's when this archetype comes online. Why was I stuttering and stopping my thought process there? Who knows? All right, Shield of Honor. What armor do we have proficiency with? You have medium armor, heavy armor. Good. Simple martial weapons. Okay, we don't have to give armor proficiencies here. So, Shield of Honor. You call upon your militant training to defend those around you. Ah, sweet. So this is going to give special attacks. Okay. on your turns, you can use your reaction to perform the special actions Commanding Strike and Interpose. Okay, so let's go ahead and before we bring those special actions over, let's go ahead and clean up the language here. To defend those around you. On your turns, you can use your reaction to perform the following special reaction to perform the following Oath of Fealty special actions. Commanding Strike and Interpose. Actually, this technically wouldn't even be on your turns. You can use your reaction to perform the following Oath of Fealty special actions. There we go. That works out better. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a quick look at these special actions. Okay, so these aren't going to be on a table. They are both reaction based as stated beforehand. So they're going to have the trigger clause here. Okay, so we're not going to snag counter charm again. Let's go ahead and jump back to the defend action, since we did fix the coloring there. All right. Boom. And then once again, since this is a simple, just kind of text-oriented special action, this should work fantastic as a template for formatting for these actions. But we are going to jump here for just this. So, Commanding Strike. And Interpose. Alright, so the brief description text here is: you call out to an ally sharing your convictions and command them to strike again at a foe. And Interpose. You witness an ally taking a devastating blow and step in to ease the strike. Okay, so. Wait. Did we change the cost? Okay. Yeah, okay, it's out. Okay. So. Commanding Strike. Conviction 2. And Interpose is apparently Conviction 3. Okay, so Commanding Strike, trigger melee or ranged weapon attack. An ally within 30 feet of you that you can perceive makes a melee or ranged weapon attack. Okay, that makes sense. Trigger, ally takes damage. An ally within 15 feet of you that you can perceive takes damage. Okay. Alright, so what are these effects here? Commanding Strike. You call out to an ally who has just made an attack and command them to strike the target again. The creature's initial attack deals an additional 1W damage to their target. This increases to 2W at 5th level and 3W at 8th level. So it's just auto bonus damage. That's easy. I find that that's much better. Than standard. Okay. Let's go ahead and add in that line break. There. You call out to an ally who just made an attack against an opponent and command them to strike the target again. The target, one creature. Range 30 feet. This one here is target self range 15 feet, if I remember correctly. Okay, yeah. Okay. And command them to strike the target again. The target creature initial attack deals an additional 1W damage to their target, and then yeah, okay. That stays exactly the same. Cool. So basically, this is just a straight damage increase, meant to simulate an additional attack. Interpose. You witness an ally taking a devastating blow and step in to ease the strike. An ally within 15 feet of you that you can perceive takes damage. You shift up to 15 feet to an unoccupied space of your choice. Within 5 feet of the target. No. Of the target self. I mean, because you are targeting yourself here. There is a trigger that is happening because of something else happening, but the effect is targeting you, not them. So you are the target creature here. So you shift up to 15 feet to an unoccupied space of your choice within 5 feet of within 5 feet of the triggering creature. The creature is resistant to the triggering damage. Yeah, so no, you just gain, so you give them resistance to an attack by just kind of blocking part of it. I feel like we should have a thing here that says you should probably be wielding a shield, since it's called Shield of Honor. Let me take a quick look and make sure that you even can wield a shield. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump to Oath of Fealty here. Shield of Honor. You gain proficiency with shields. And can perform the following following special actions when you are wielding a shield. You are wielding a shield. You can use your reaction to perform the following Oath of Fealty special actions: Commanding Strike and Interpose. So we can get rid of the line about you call upon your military training. There we go. Okay, so that works. So actually what we should do here, once again, just trying to get ahead of myself more than anything else. We're going to copy this text here for our prerequisite. This needs a little bit of... Hang on. How many of these do not have? That one does. Does. That one now does. This one doesn't. There we go. Oath of Fealty here. This one needs some paragraph. Add space after. There we go. This one also does. There we go. Okay. Commanding Strike. Prerequisite. You are wielding a shield. Guess that should be okay, hang on. This feels a bit... Prerequisite shield. Yeah. There we go. That feels... There we go. Prerequisite shield. Wielding shield, wielding shield, wielding shield, wielding shield. Shield equipped. There we go. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Okay, so those are our special attacks at second level here. Cool. All right, let's see what else we wrote up. This is small. Okay. So I do like. Okay, so I do like that ability. Dang. Okay, so thy will made mine. Second level Oath of Fealty Anointed feature. Whenever you would defend with your fortitude or reflex defense, you can instead use your will defense. If you defend an attack that targets your will defense, you gain a bonus to the defense equal to your anointed level. There we go. Slight buff to it, but so basically it means whenever you're going to be taking the defend action, you're probably going to be using your will defense. And so instead of strength and constitution is fortitude, dexterity and intellect is your reflex, and then wisdom and charisma are your will. And so this just means you're going to be using will, and the anointed class gains focus here with strength, and then your choice of intellect, wisdom, charisma. So this is already in heavily focusing, where you could just take a wisdom or charisma. So you're going to have probably a slightly stronger fortitude and probably a slightly stronger will. And then you could get also a slightly stronger reflex. But as far as this goes, 2 out of your 3 options are going to be boosted with. So Oath of Fealty is most likely going to be something that is beneficial with a boosted will, and a will that is going to be growing as you gain levels. Yes. Okay, so there is that. All right, now we have the aura ability here. This is kind of a staple of this paladin style genre of class. So let's just go ahead and straight up steal the Aura of Fae Sanctuary formatting. All right, so Aura of Guidance. All right. As a major action, you conjure an aura empowered by your convictions. This aura extends in a 10-foot radius around you. So this is the, I think this is the smallest radius. That's weird. The aura of Base Sanctuary does not say what the radius is. We're gonna have to go back and check that. Fealty, special action. Okay. Major action, you conjure an aura empowered by your convictions. Aura extends in a 10-foot radius around you, moves with you, remaining centered on you. All creatures who start this is probably why it's a smaller radius. All creatures who start their turn within the area have the blessed condition. This cloud lasts for 10 minutes, spreads around corners, and cannot be dispersed unless you choose to end this effect. No action required. It's with you remaining centered. So one, I'm just going to copy this text here. Or extends in a 10-foot radius around you and moves with you. Conjure an aura empowered by your convictions. Extends in a 10-foot radius around you and moves with you. Let's go ahead and copy that text, jump back over here. Is it in here? Yeah, 15-foot radius. That's weird. This aura extends in a 15-foot radius around you. Range self 15-foot radius. Let's check Oath of Blackened Heart as well. Because like this seems like it could be a self 20-foot radius. Okay. Odd. So I'm going to just automatically bump this to 15. I know it's powerful, but 15-foot radius. Okay. And moves with you, remaining centered on you, and all creatures who start their turn within it. Get all centered. Boom. All creatures who start their turn within it have the blessed condition. In the area have blessed condition. So this just basically gives a blanket advantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and the like. And are resistant to the charmed and frightened conditions. Yeah, this cloud lasts for 10 minutes, spreads around corners, and cannot be dispersed. So let's go ahead and get rid of cloud because this is not a cloud, this is this aura lasts for 10 minutes. Corners and cannot be dispersed unless you choose to end this effect. No action. There we go. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you complete a long rest. Same old, same. the strength of your convictions and the power of your patron grants your allies resolve in battle. On your turn, you can use your major action to perform the special action Aura of Guidance. Okay. So, Aura of Guidance. What should be their description text here? Maybe this should be a shout. No. Your militant might inspires those around you with an infectious sense of victory. Yeah. No, it militant might inspires those around you with an infectious sense of victory. Alright. Cool. Stand resolute. This is a 5th level feature here as well. Fifth level Oath of Fealty, Anointed feature. When an effect forces you to move or would otherwise be forced to move against your will, you can move up to 10 feet less than the effect specified. Okay, this. I do like this ability. This is good. So, I believe we do have things that reduce movement. Okay, maybe not. Well, I know we have things that reduce whenever an effect forces you to move or you would otherwise be forced to move against your will, you count as one size larger than one size larger for the purpose of the pushing for the purpose of resisting movement, and can move up to and when you are moved against your will, you can reduce the number of feet you are pushed by to 10 feet. One size larger for the purpose of resisting. When you're moved against your will, you can reduce the number of feet you are pushed by up to 10 feet. There we go. So, if you're taking a push action against this creature, they are immediately going to be resisting. They're immediately going to give you disadvantage because they count as one size larger if you're now your same size creatures. And then they can reduce the number of feet they're pushed by up to 10 feet. Okay, so 8th level ability here. This looks like something I phoned in at the last minute. Dang. Champion of the Realms. Don't mind the title. I think that's fine. You are resistant to all damages except psychic. I think that is a cop-out of an answer. So let's go ahead and take a quick peek at the Warlord, since once again this is kind of how we want this to play a little bit. So we have Final Gambit, that is nice. We have Cut Them Down, which is beautiful. I love Cut Them Down, and that is core to the Warlord, so that is not going to be shared in any way. No. I'm not seeing anything immediately that is jumping out at me that is, hey, you should take this, or like you should adapt it. Okay, so what sort of core mechanics are we playing with the Anointed class? We have our heroic resource, which is Conviction. We have our spells that we can throw around, and those are our special attacks functionally. We do have a couple of special attacks here and there because we are a bimodal martial spellcasting class here. We have aura abilities. What is our 8th level? Let's see here. We could steal a little bit from another class here. I was thinking that we do have that one really nice ability here from Walk the Quiet Sunbeam, where you expend when you reappear after teleporting, you choose a number of creatures. You can see up to a number equal to the conviction spent as a part of the attack, giving temporary hit points equal to the anointed level. I do like this effect. It is kind of a nice leader-y sort of thing where you're giving temporary hit points and then you're also giving a damage resistance with it. And that sort of thing does fit very well with the Oath of Fealty as this sort of martial leader. So maybe we make this into a flourish. Okay. So let's stick around with Oath of Blight and Radiance here. while in this space, all creatures gain the following flourishes. Okay, so we're not going to do that. So, Oath of Fealty here. When you make a melee basic, no, melee weapon attack, No, this could also be ranged. It could. It probably isn't, but it could. Melee or ranged weapon. Like this class is going, like, if you read it, it is focused on melee. Like, sure, you have Oath of Blatant Radiance, which does give you some bonuses to do some things with at range. But, like, especially with the Oath of Fealty, this should feel like a melee-focused archetype. What if we give Exalted melee basic attacks? Don't hate that. Don't hate that at all. Okay, I think that is a good focus. That is a good way of doing this. Because whatchamacallit, it's not the duelist. The pugilist does get exalted melee basic attacks. Is that level 10 capstone? I kind of think it is. Yeah, that is a capstone. Shit. Okay. So we don't want to be giving exalted melee basic attacks before 10th level, right? Right. Okay, so what an exalted melee basic attack does is it just gives you a flat 1W bonus to your damage, which is nice. It's very nice, but because it stacks with your improved melee basic attacks. So really, your original is 1, 2, 2, 3. Once you go to improved, typically around 4th level, that becomes 2, 3, 3, 4, and then in rare circumstances you get exalted, and right now it exclusively lives on the pugilist, and that goes 3, 4, 4, 5. So what would we do if we wanted to funkify this for the 8th level capstone for a subclass? In a way that isn't going to specifically be a detriment to us. And likewise, also could work for ranged, even though it's best, it just should be for melee focused, since this class can be ranged. Like, there's nothing against this being ranged. It's just right now commanding strike and interpost, they imply that it is ranged. Imply that it is a melee class. Okay. So We aren't. This isn't going to be an exalted melee basic attack. This is going to be an improved melee basic attack. So, egg from the. So, do we call this a convicted? No, we call this a resolute basic attack. Resolute. That's going to be our word for it. So, resolute basic attacks. Okay. Resolute basic attacks is going to be an 8th level Oath of Fealty Anointed feature. There we go. Whenever you make an attack roll with a melee weapon attack tag, you can use the result from the Resolute like basic attack chart. There we go. Now hang on a second. Let's actually just go ahead and get the improved versions of this, so that way we can keep the language, because it's going to be both melee and range. Because you should get the option for ranged even though it is not incentivized. You should be allowed to make unoptimal choices. Okay. Resolute basic attacks. Whenever you make an attack roll with a melee weapon attack or ranged weapon attack tag, the resolute basic attack charts instead. So this is going to be a resolute melee basic attack. A resolute ranged. So, I know I have been a little bit holding back on what this is going to do. So it's not going to be an exalted, because it's not going to give you 1W more damage. So how do we boost damage without boosting without boosting damage? Without giving a flat 1W bonus to it, how do we increase the attack of these basic attacks? And I was thinking, what is this class about? It's all about flashiness, it's all about charisma, it's all about flourishes. So we're going to be doing improved melee basic attacks here, but instead of that, you always just have a flourish. So it's not going to increase the upper limits of this, so you're always going to have a flourish on a 19 or higher, and the difference is a 1W damage output. However, for your 9 and lower and 10 to 18, now you're also going to get to perform a flourish, and that could be wound, and so that could raise this to a 3-4-3-4. Oh, that's weird. Hang on a second. No. So that's yeah. So that would then give us the hidden 1W damage boost. So if you perform a flourish with all of these, that would make this a 3-4-4-5 if you exclusively choose wound. So a resolute, because because the great lie of this archetype is not the archetype of the game is that these 1 2 2 3s are just that pattern. If you take the wound flourish each time, it is a 1 2 3 4. So it is always going to do 1W more damage each tier up, so long as you always choose the wound flourish. You can instead sacrifice the wound flourish for different critical effects based on your damage, based on your weapon type. So this 2 3 3 4 instead becomes 3 4 4 5. That is the trick. So 2W plus might damage. You perform a flourish with your weapon as part of the attack. One creature within 5 feet of you can make an attack of opportunity against you. 3W plus might damage, and you can perform a flourish with your weapon as a part of this attack. There we go. This is what a resolute attack is. It gives you flourishes on every tier. And this is going to exclusively live on the Oath of Fealty Anointed. Attack rolls against you have advantage 2-1. This is just going to be straight. Have an advantage. Till the start of your next turn. You perform a flourish with your weapon as a part of this attack. There we go. So that is a resolute basic attack. There we go. So that is good. That is fantastic. But what if we add some spice to it? Like, don't get me wrong, I love some spice. What if we add some more spice? We're not going to be standing resolute, but what if we are, in fact, the champion of the realms? When you make a melee or ranged weapon attack, okay. Do we limit this to attacking a creature that has the charmed or frightened conditions? I don't. Especially because we're already giving flourishes to every attack. So this is going to be something that can trigger every time. So we need to think about this a little bit more strategically. So this feature is going to need to have a resource cap on it. Otherwise, it is going to be something that triggers always and gives functionally infinite damage reduction. So I'm thinking that the probably easiest way to do this is going to be to then tie this to an expenditure of willpower rather than conviction or anything else. Like, because this is going to be probably the strongest flourish in the game. Like, bar none. So I think it should be tied to something like willpower. You can expend 1 point of willpower to use the following flourish. To use the following flourish on your attack. And boom, boom. Get rid of all of that. There we go. Okay, so it's not going to be corrosive rain, because that is so once again, we're tying this directly to a willpower expenditure because of how because this is going to be powerful. This is going to be strong. Like, if you were playing a martial focused character, you would want to get this flourish, especially because since you also get resolute basic attacks, whenever you hit an opponent, you can do this. Now, if you're going to be expending a lot of willpower, technically speaking, you can do this 9 times before dying outright. That's not recommended, but it is dramatic. It's interesting. Yeah. Like drama is what we're going for here. So like maybe you are dying, but like your team is like you're about to eke out a victory. So you make an attack, you expend a point of willpower, you force yourself further towards death, but it's going to give your entire team grand damage reduction. And like that means that this is something that is always turned on. I think that yeah, I think that is going to be our like that's why that this is going to be a willpower suck instead of a conviction suck. Like if I put this on conviction, you can just gain more conviction. You don't gain willpower as a dynamic resource through a fight. That just isn't a thing. So, what do we call this? Okay. Well, we'll come up with a good name for it. Because right now I'm just thinking of it as Might of the Gods, which is lame. That as a title that is just so lame. Okay, so let's go ahead and swing back to Blight and Radiance, because this is where it's coming from. Oath of Blight and Radiance. There we go. Walk the Quiet Sunbeam. Your attack. Oh, hang on. Did the music die? Nope. It looks like it's still going. Yep. Your attack reinvigorate. Your allies' fighting spirit. As a part of this attack, choose a number of creatures that you can see. You can fucking perceive. That's the word. Choose a number of creatures that you can perceive up to your Anointed level. As part of this attack, choose a number of creatures that you can perceive up to your anointed level. So this is immediately up to 8 creatures. So like this is a full party cover immediately. Each creature gains temporary hit points equal to your anointed level. 8 temporary hit points. If you bring a commoner into a boss fight, they probably just doubled their hit points here. While a creature has these temporary hit points, they are resistant to all damage except for psychic. So what we just did is we created a one-time, one-hit half of all damage. And that is quite good, and like normally would be a thing for conviction. But because we also throw on resolute basic attacks here, we have to balance it out in this way. So this is going to be a one-time. While you have these temporary hit points, you automatically are reducing damage by 8, but you're also having all incoming damage for 1 hit. Unless it's psychic. So like this this is a huge damage mitigation, and that's why it's a willpower spend, and it becomes instantly accessible every turn because you have resolute melee basic attacks. So Champion of the Realms. What do we call this ability? You will never break the chain. I mean, no. The chain remains unbroken. Yeah. It's on one hand, it's a callback. It's a reference, but like, it feels right to me. Yeah, no. Yeah, we'll just call it remain. And you guys know, we both know, the chain remains unbroken. The chain of Acheron. Thanks, Matt Colville. You're my guy. Oh yeah. Okay, so you can make a flourish to remain unbroken. Your attack reinvigorates your ally's fighting spirit. As a part of this attack, choose a number of creatures that you can perceive up to your anointed level. Each creature gains temporary hit points equal to your anointed level. When a creature has these temporary hit points, they are resistant to all damage types except for psychic. Hell yeah. Like, once again, this is probably going to become the most powerful flourish in the game. And it should stay that way. I do not want to power creep anywhere close to this again. And that's, once again, why it's a willpower suck. Okay. So, that is going to be the Oath of Fealty. Let's see here. Man, I went into this kind of feeling a little bit about this one, just because I like it's been forever since I've worked on this archetype, and like I fell a victim to looking at the capstone first and just kind of thinking, oh, I kind of phoned this in. But no, I genuinely quite like this as a martial spell sword archetype. I feel like our work here has greatly given this subclass much more identity and, I mean, on one hand potential, but like much more much more of a fighting spirit. So up next we would be would be looking at the, where are you, Oath of Sharpened Fang. Now here, I'm gonna put a pause here for a second and just kind of check my phone here for timing wise. Is this something you want to do tonight, or should we jump on stream maybe tomorrow, continue working on a lot of these archetypes, maybe get into the Berserker stuff, maybe get into the halfling bits? Is this something to either keep going on, or do we put a pause in it, put a pin in it for tonight? Let's see here. How long have we been streaming for? I mean, we've been going for 3 hours. That's pretty good. I think hang on. Let's take a look at what we came up with for Sharpened Fang here. See if it's worth getting into. Oh boy, this looks like a lot. Okay, so get a pact with a dragon. Expanded spell list, Draconic Temper. Okay. So this is a subclass with subclasses. This isn't a stance. This is, we have lots of different. Oh man, this is, I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. Like, on one hand, it is 1, 2, 3. It's like 3 abilities. These are long. Yeah, I think this is gonna be a tomorrow thing. But that's gonna build some hype. This is gonna be a cool stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you around next time we tackle the Sharpened Fang. Hell yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.